Hello, AI scientists, scholar practitioner leaders, acronym SPLs. Welcome to our final week 8, everyone. And I want to congratulate everybody for a phenomenal course here during our statistics for data science section MSDS 531 A01 for our fall here in 2025. You guys did a phenomenal job, and I'm very proud of you guys for really excelling in our statistics class. I know it was very cumbersome in regard to really testing your expertise to see if you guys actually understood everything that I was presenting to you. And the way it looks now, especially from your week 7 assignments that I gave you, those 4 assignments, you guys have really knocked it out the box. So, again, welcome to our final lecture, everyone. This is the therefore mentioned week 8. And before we go into our last week's material, I want to go ahead and touch base on all the great things that we did on those 4 assignments. I want to look at those and just go over those just to show you guys that, hey, everything that I spoke of prior to you guys going into doing those 4 assignments literally did come to fruition, especially things that I wanted you to look at. So let's go back and do a quick cursory of those 4 assignments before we move forward to now discussing our final week, which is the week 8 material. Okay, so last week, guys, the number one thing that I spoke on was making sure that you guys take care of our deliverables. And as we all know, that the deliverables are always derived from the overview, the current weeks. In this case, it was week 7 last week, and it looks like you guys really knocked it out the box. That you really understood the deliverables that I was presenting to you guys, and I wanted to make sure that you really had it tucked in and based on the quiz and the other 3 assignments that you guys did, including the practical learning piece, you guys really got a lot out of our course. And we'll go over that shortly. But in the meantime, let's review everything that I spoke on last week just to reinforce, to make sure that, hey, I wasn't just saying things. It was actually going to come to fruition, and it looks like it did based on you guys' results. Now, I haven't graded your assignments. As usual, I say results, but I just did all my sample testing of each of the 4 assignments and even been looking at them today because some of you guys did wait to the last minute yesterday. Well, it's going to be tonight, but when you guys look at this lecture, it'll be today, uh, tomorrow. But I have actually been looking at everybody's grades and work material. And like I said, did a really quickly cursory slash not grading per se, but just looking to make sure that you guys presented graphs like I was asking and actually did what I was directing you to do in each of the respective assignments. And even in the quiz, you guys did exceptionally well. I didn't really have any hiccups in the quiz. So we'll look at those areas as we move forward. Again, this is the week 7 material that I'm speaking on, and we're going to go over the material now, starting with the overview, deliverables, and then we'll commence as usual the last 2 lecture areas. Lectures 3 of 4 and 4 of 4 will be for this last and final week 8. Okay. Alrighty. So you remember last week in week 7 when I spoke on the deliverable in regard to one successful model of SML, which is, we all know, is the statistical machine learning, is ensemble learning. And I spoke on that, and you guys read up on it and really nailed it, it looks like. So that was one of the things that I was already looking at when I was looking at your assignments last night and during the course of the week. You guys was all over it, which uses many models to form a prediction, as you guys saw. The actual development of ensemble methods of bagging and boosting in the 1990s established the foundation of SML. The strategy of averaging or taking majority votes results of multiple models turned out to be more accurate than just selecting results from one model. And you guys saw that, right? So, and you guys also saw now, as you look back in retrospect for this week 7, the unsupervised learning constructs a model of the data, and you guys saw. But it does not distinguish between the response variable and predictive variables, or predictor variables. Okay, with unsupervised learning, we can actually create, as you guys saw, a predictive rule in the absence of a labeled response. I know you guys enjoy that because I saw that in you guys' work, which is great. You guys really elaborated on that, and I like that. So, in doing so we can identify meaningful groups of data. Clustering is the technique to divide data into different groups. You guys know that. K-means, the overall K-means, as you guys know about now, K-mean, excuse me, K-means was among the first clustering methods to be developed, and as well as the hierarchical clustering is an alternative to the K-means, as you guys know now, that can yield very different clusters. So now you guys can differentiate the K-means versus the overall hierarchical clustering. So there's the K-means piece as well as the hierarchical, and you guys really do know how to differentiate that as far as especially the hierarchical piece in regard to clustering being the alternative to the K-means. So great job with that, guys. I was really kind of worried about that. Had my fingers crossed, hoping that you guys would nail that. And it looks like from my sample size, now I will be grading all your assignments. And by the way, all your assignments, including this week's 8 assignments. So you're going to have 2 assignments this week, and we'll talk about that shortly. But all the assignments will be completed by Thursday because I got to have all the grades in, as I spoke last week about this short week, which is now our current week 8. So all grading will be handed back over to you guys by Thursday, and you'll have your final grade for the course on Friday. Okay. But also, in regard to the deliverables for week 7, as I just spoke on, there was the overall module objectives for week 7 as well. As I mentioned last week, by the end of the week 7 module, there was 5 things that I wanted you to nail. And again, you guys have been nothing but rock stars. You nailed it as usual. The first thing was explain the difference between bagging and that random forest, as I spoke on, and as you guys read on in the book. You actually read it and you saw it and you took good notes, I presume, because it looks like you did, because everyone did well on the quiz as well. The second thing out of the 5 modules was apply the general boosting technique. That technique was really crucial, as I just spoke on that in the deliverables in the overview. Thirdly, it was learn how to reduce overfitting. So we guys, all this past 7 was all about overfitting, and it was a carryover from week 6 as well. So that should have been really straightforward with you guys. Also, you had to explain the K-means algorithm. That should be basic now, the baseline. Understanding what K-means is all about. And the 5th item from this past week 7 for the module objectives that I really wanted to make sure that you had that also in your other pocket. First pocket, what you had to put in your pocket was the deliverables, those things that I paraphrased and put on the announcement board coming from the overview, and then these module objectives that I also wanted you to nail. The last thing was list the differences between, as I just mentioned, the therefore mentioning of hierarchical clustering and K-means. So there's a difference, similar but very different. Okay, so you guys really showed me that you understood how to differentiate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great job, my AI scientists, SPLs, scholar practitioner leaders. Okay, so the learning materials primarily from last week came from 6 and 7, as I just alluded to, and you guys saw. So that was a good thing in regard to you guys really getting a good lay of the land, understanding what I was presenting last week. And you guys really persevered in this past week 7. So, like I said, the truth is always in the proof, in the pudding. When you look at the proof in regard to your grading, even though I haven't graded yet, but I'm looking forward to looking at that proof. But from the sample size that I've looked at thus far, you guys are really showing me why you are by far, as far as my concern, that I'm concerned with, that I see that you guys really being solid AI scientists as you progress on through our curriculum here at the University of Cumberland's. Keep up the good work ethic. Do not let down. Do not take your foot off the pedal. It's all about having good work ethic skills. Okay. Work ethic, work ethic, work ethic. Okay. So always do your assignments, be on time, get them done early because you never know what might happen. And what I like about this past week 7, everybody was on time with their assignments. And maybe it's because we're getting to the end of the course and you guys really want to make sure that you get all the points. Like I've been mentioning, it's all about the points now. So you guys really took heed to what I was saying, and I truly do appreciate that. Okay. So as I mentioned last week, continuing on with week 7, I talked about chapter 6 and chapter 7. Okay. First of all, in chapter 6, it was all about the SML, as I spoke on, and as I previously mentioned about the bagging and the overall random forest, that I wanted you to take good heed in when you go back to chapter 6. Because you remember, chapter 6 was also about week 6. So it's a carryover from week 6, but we had to go back into it for some different sections as far as our week 7. So first thing I want you to look at was that bagging and random forest, and you guys nailed it. And I'm hoping you took good notes as usual. I'm always advocating take great notes. And then the second thing I wanted to make sure of, the boosting piece, as I just spoke on. Boosting was really huge, understanding that technique, what it's all about. There in chapter 6 under the SML, statistical machine learning. Okay. Now, chapter 7 was all about that therefore mentioned unsupervised learning. Okay, that's where you was going to differentiate the understanding of the k-means clustering and the hierarchical clustering. As long as you read that piece in chapter 7 out of our book, our electronic book, in the unsupervised learning section, you would have easily been able to differentiate what K-means is all about in regard to clustering and what the hierarchical clustering is all about, how you can really distinguishingly separate the two and really understand. And that's one of the key things from last week, as you also saw in the quiz, because we had those 4 assignments this week. So I mean, you guys nailed it on the quiz. So you understood which one was which. And that's why I put it in the quiz, because that's why I kept telling you last week, make sure you really differentiate that. And you know, when I'm always repeating something, you know you're going to see it again. And I'm always true to form. So, and then you also had supplemental material from last week. If in fact you wanted to go above and beyond, you know, I'm always advocating that in your supplemental book material. That was there for you as well. Different languages, different books, if you wanted to purchase those. And I know some of the students, I've been told, really do take pride in reading materials in other languages. So that's always there for you as well as the R tutorial. When you're doing any type of extrapolation of your data using the R2 tool, that R tutorial is always there for you as well. So I'm always presenting that. So as you can see, the week 7 material was really straightforward. Everything that I had spoke on, it was just a matter of now you guys just going through applying what I said in my lecture. And I'm hoping that you took those great notes as usual in what I was saying. So when it was time to go and do your assignments and read the chapters, everything should have been true to form, carrying over from the lecture that I spoke on in week 7, which was last week. Okay, so that was it in regard to our learning material, our deliverables that I spoke on, as well as the module objectives for week 7. Everything was straightforward. If you put each of those 2 items in each of your pockets and nailed it, doing the quiz and doing your assignments should have really been straightforward, because everything that I told you to make sure that you comprehend and have in your pockets, you would have done well on the assignments. And like I said, thus far, looking at your assignments, it's looking like everybody is really holding it down per se in a solid way. And I like that. So when I grade the assignments, and again, I'm going to have everything to you this week, guys, because this is our short week, as I spoke on, and it was in our announcements last week that I posted on the announcement board. So everything will be provided back to you on Thursday, okay? And our last day of the course will be Friday, but assignments are due on Wednesday. When I return back, we will continue with our Week 8, Lecture 2 of 4.